I have a bone to pick with Groundhog Day itself. When he doesn't see a shadow, that means that it's cloudy and it's gloomy and it's supposedly going to be in early spring. That doesn't make any sense to me. I hate it.
It's weird that there's no consistency in how a large squirrel predicts the weather.
Welcome to This Week in Nerd History. This is a podcast where we take a look at all the fun, dumb, nerdy stuff from the past, present, and future. I'm Mike. Joining me, as always, we got AJ and Sal. How you guys doing?
Great.
We got some actual, good, or not good, or new recent news, exciting stuff going on. We talk about the Fantastic Four teaser, some RoosterTeeth news, which is pretty crazy. I got a dumb game, and we're going to talk about Groundhog Day, which was the 22, 23?
20-something?
20-something year
I don't know what year it is.
Anniversary, yeah.
Yeah. And just for typical Groundhog Day fashion, the movie came out a week after Groundhog Day, so so are we.
Yeah. We're just being more accurate that way.
Yeah, exactly. We're not doing an interview this week, but I have a new game for you guys. Name that Transformer.
Yay!
Just like we did Name That He-Man character, I've got a group of Transformers. It's a mix of just dumb-ass designs, like characters in general, and they've all got pretty terrible names. So, we're going to start off with this guy. All right. So,
I like his little arms.
Yeah. He
Aww.
is, this isn't really giving, I guess I got to give a little bit of context clue here. That thing is just an engine block.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like an engine block.
Yeah.
As someone who has little to no experience with actual cars, except that in high school I dated a guy who was obsessed with cars and took engines apart. That's what an engine block looks like.
Yep.
Nice.
Did it have little orange arms on it?
No, it didn't.
And a little blue face.
So wait, is the picture on the left what he looks like as a humanoid form, and the one on the right is what he transforms into?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my God!
So
really?
I thought this was two pieces that come together.
No. This is him.
That turns into an engine.
He just becomes an engine block.
He's an engine. Just
That
an engine
sucks.
block. Yep.
He's just an engine.
Okay.
Yes.
This poor little guy. I love his little arms, though.
So to
Come on,
disguise
his beefy
from
legs and his tiny little
enemies and
arms.
humans, he just turns into an inanimate engine block.
Well, he's gonna get taken apart immediately.
All right, so I got four names for you here. All right.
All right.
And you guys got to try to pick which one is the correct name. Number 1, Blockhead.
Oh, that's good.
Number 2, Piston. Mm-hmm. Number 3, Lube.
Definitely lube.
And number 4, Dodge Stratus.
I'm gonna go with lube. That's what he should be called.
This feels like a blockhead situation.
I feel like he should be lube because then you can kind of riff on you're a noob and you're a rube, and you can really riff on him a bunch.
Yeah.
Sure. Plus it's gross sex sounding stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, lube is very important in cars. Don't you guys know anything?
Right?
I'm constantly
You
lubing
need
up my car.
lubricated engines.
Almost too much.
Yeah.
Your engine needs to be lubricated at all
Graphically
times.
Well, the correct answer is
Wait, did Sal
lube.
pick one?
Yeah.
Is it lube?
It is lube.
Woo!
His name
No!
is Lube. Sal picked Blockhead. Yeah.
I picked blockhead.
His actual name is Lube.
That's awesome.
Yes. Fucking ridiculous.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. I'm so excited.
We've
I'm gonna
got-
win this game. I'm already. I did so bad in every
AJ's
other
locked
game
in.
Mike has made. I'm like,
She's locked in.
I'm so hyped.
All right, so this is a bit of a cheat with these graphics here because looking it up, they're supposed to be twins.
Oh, okay.
Right? So I just doubled up the one guy, but there's supposedly they've got twins.
So there's
twin
two
brothers.
guys.
There's two guys.
And they come together and they just look exactly the same.
I don't think they come together. They're just like two guys and they just named them different. So buy them both separately.
Oh man.
Mom and dad.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's going to be two names. I'll give you.
Okay.
Okay. First one, Pain and Cable.
Yeah.
Torch and Burn.
Okay.
Heat Stroke and Heartburn. Or Tummy Ache and Bubblegut.
I mean, tummy ache and bubble gut seems to be... Now, anytime someone has a tummy ache, I want to call it a bubble gut. I gotta pick Torch and Burn because I feel like it's the only one that's not trying too hard.
I'm going heat stroke and heartburn.
It is heat stroke and heartburn.
Yes!
Fucking ridiculous.
And they're twins, and you have to buy them. They like have the same packaging, and they're just heat stroke and heartburn.
For that part, I don't know. All I knew, I saw heat stroke first, and I was like, "Come on, that is awful." And then I was looking on like the wiki, and it was like, "And he's got a twin heartburn." I was like, "All right." I feel like they just
Or are
looked
you
up
only
like a
able to
thesaurus.
buy heat stroke, and then you have to just buy another heat stroke and pretend
name
he's
him
heartburn?
Heartburn.
Probably. Yeah.
Like, your second heat stroke will be heartburn. They don't have
can never
anything to
be
do with
sure.
each other. They don't mean the same thing.
You just grab like, look. I looked up all the words that have heat because he's some sort of futuristic flamethrower, and I looked up all the words with burn.
Yep.
And I got
Oh, he
these
looks
two.
like he's like a jet propulsion flying thing. He's
Yeah,
not, he's
I think I'd imagine that it's like because it's got the little handle at the bottom that he turns into like a gun for another guy to hold. That's
I
what
can
okay, they do
clearly
that.
see where his feet are. The design is not very good.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a yoga pose. All right,
Yoga pose. That's the downward
Yeah.
dog.
so it's tied up.
Any 20-something young lady can do that.
This might be the worst one I've ever. I didn't know about this guy. He might be the worst.
I
Okay,
know this guy. He's cool.
he is. Not to give away too much of like what he changes into because you can't really even tell from
You
this thing.
can't tell.
Nope.
But in the bio, he is like an office administrator. So Transformers have like an HR apparently and like an office manager kind of thing, and he is that person.
Okay.
Eclipse.
Imagine a guy just coming in like that. He just busts through all of the door frames. There's no way he fits through a normal door.
And then he
Hell no.
transforms
With
into
a
that
build
thing and
like
tries to
that.
like hide. He's
Oh
like
no,
the,
the Decepticons are here.
he's like the size of a motorcycle just in your office.
Everyone's just looking at him suspiciously, like, it's this guy.
He's trying to hold still and you can hear him breathing. I can't hold this position forever. All right, so
Eclipse.
Eclipse.
hole punch, overtime,
Definitely
Epson
overtime.
WF260. That's the name of
That's
the
the your printer.
the
That's
name of
your
our printer in
printer.
the office.
That's our printer. Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. Oh man, these
I
are
mean,
all
his
awful.
name has to be well, actually, hole punch is pretty great. I feel like it has to be overtime
I like
because
overtime.
if he's an office manager, he's got to be like.
Right. I'm gonna go hole punch. I love that.
It's hole punch. He's a fucking hole puncher.
He is a hole puncher.
Yes, he's a
Wait,
hole
that's
puncher.
what
he
he
was some kind of a
transforms into.
I found,
Dog.
there was another version of this toy that I
That's
found.
supposed to be a
and
hole
like
puncher.
where this thing is
Yeah.
was just there's another version where it's just like a peg, and I'm like he's a fucking hole puncher because I think you can like fold him in half and he punches holes for other robots.
Hey, can you punch this for me? It takes 15 minutes to punch one paper
Yeah.
because he has to do a whole transformation.
He's also huge.
He's also huge. Yeah, he's just crushing the paper and crumpling it.
Oh, thanks a lot, Dick.
All right, 2-1, Sal. Sal's up.
I'm sorry.
Come on,
Damn
AJ.
it.
All right.
I got this.
All right.
I got this one.
I may go back. This might be the worst. This might be the worst name.
This is the worst human form also so
Yes.
far.
Yeah, right?
This
He's
is-
nothing.
He
This is
clearly looks like a car.
So this is a female transformer. So keep this in
Ah.
mind with these names.
Okay.
Not sure how Transformers can be male or female, but we'll
Yeah.
get into that
Yeah.
never.
Oh wait, hang on one second. Okay, there we go. Okay. Discharge,
Oh no.
Ugh.
flow, toots, or Dr. Quinn
Toots.
medicine robot.
Dr. Quinn medicine robot. Is that toots or toots? I read it as toots.
It's toots.
Like
Toots.
toots sweet.
Yeah,
Toots.
yeah.
Like, get these
Like that
papers
old
filed,
timey.
honey.
Like, yeah.
Go ahead, toots.
Transform, toots.
Are we really just gonna brush over the male female transformer scenario here?
We
It
have
deals
to.
with, like,
Are we going to it?
Yeah,
Does
it's mostly pistons.
Yeah.
Women have fewer of them.
fewer pistons? And then is there then transformer like? Is there transformer reproduction?
There are Transformer kids. There are young Transformers or
And
young
then they grow up
robots.
to be big Transformers. They're not just made.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
How does this? I have so many questions. Never mind.
I know.
I hate all of these names.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's awful.
They're terrible. They're terrible.
None of these. No
As
one's
a
walking
woman,
away.
these are all offensive.
Right. So this was on purpose because the name itself is terrible. So I made them all
Of
pretty bad.
course.
Yeah. Except for Dr. Quinn.
Oh, really?
yeah.
I
Wait,
mean,
is this
I will say it's not 4. Just to give you a
course.
yeah.
my whole MO right now is that I just really want to. I want to beat Sal.
All right, go for it.
Which means I need to get this right, and then if there's one more, I need to get that one right also.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the second to last one. So you got.
I want Sal to choose first, and then I'll pick
Okay.
between the remaining two.
Oh man. Okay. My intuition has kind of been right lately, so I'm gonna throw it. There's no way they named an Autobot Discharge.
So you're going with Discharge,
I'm gonna
or
go
you're
with
going with one
Discharge.
of the other two.
No, I'm going with
So
Discharge.
you're trying to fail.
I'm deliberate because I was like my instinct was flow, like a little subtle, but
But what does that have to do with
Discharge.
it's clearly a fire truck,
Right.
oh no.
So-
Okay, so it probably is Discharge.
right?
Well, flow could be like water flow.
Yeah, I don't know. But Toots?
I'm gonna go Toots. Because Toots is nothing. Toots doesn't
Toots
mean
is
anything.
nothing. Toots is just this is our lady.
Like it's
Toots is
woman.
like the personality of, maybe she's got like a fun personality or something.
Yeah, maybe she's
it's
like
just like a fun
Janine from
sounding
Ghostbusters.
I feel like they put less than
Transformers, what do you want?
3 seconds
Exactly.
of thought in these names.
Yeah, Toots. Yeah, I'll go Toots.
All right, I'm gonna go Flo.
It's Discharge.
You would have been right, Sal.
I would have
You
taken
would
it.
have been right. I feel like you get the
Discharge
point
is
on
such a-
that.
No, I didn't. I went with Toots. I went with Dr. Quinn Medicine Robot.
All right, so I do have a bonus one that is weird. I don't even know quite how to question it, but I'll figure that out as we go.
Sweet.
So it is still 2-1, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, AJ, you need this last one.
Ooh, now that's a good looking trip. Come
That's a
on.
good trip.
This is
Yeah.
pretty
This is
standard
what they're
guy,
supposed
right?
to look like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is
This is how it's on everybody else, all the other shitty ones. Take
Yeah.
a look at this.
This is like a
This is how it's
standard
done.
Autobot classic Transformer guy, right?
Yes.
With the most boring ass name you can imagine. High beam, oil pan, horsepower, car part.
I want it to be car part.
I love it.
Horsepower is boring, but it's also like
Almost cool.
a kid would acknowledge that that's a thing that makes sense. They know
Yeah.
what horsepower is. I think oil pan makes it sound like it's an old car. And a high beam also I feel like would sound cool to a kid. Like, oh yeah, this is high beam.
Yeah.
Car part's pretty cool.
Car part.
Stop trying to make car part happen. Yeah, I'll go oil pan. That would be so terrible. No! that doesn't even make sense. Why would it be just the one piece?
I'm gonna go high
Horsepower
beam.
makes more sense.
High beam.
High
It's
beam
oil
and
pan, isn't it?
it's oil pan. The
What?
worst. It's
God damn it.
No!
I knew it. In my heart,
I'm trying to
as soon
throw
as
this
I saw
game.
it, I was like, that's probably fucking it. That's probably it. I don't want it to be it, but
Yeah.
it is.
That's so lame.
it is the like it doesn't even. It's the least effort you could put in. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
There's no action to it.
I got oil pan. Look at me.
Right.
Like, what?
There's no action in oil pan.
No.
It's a decent looking car, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's cool
right?
looking, kind of.
He
High
should
beam
be
and
named High
horsepower
Beam. He's
took me 10
yellow,
seconds.
orange. Who knows what color that is?
I like high beam better. High beam or horsepower all work for this guy.
Car
Oil
part
pan,
is even better.
Car part is better. Because at least then you can imagine which car part they're referring to as opposed to it being the oil pan.
All right. So that's Sal once again
Sorry.
with the
Sal
victory.
obliterated me once again.
The tiebreaker. I don't quite know how it was going to work, but there is the GoBots, which is like the AJ, if you don't know who the GoBots are, which
I do not.
Okay. GoBots are just the Transformers. They came out first, and Transformers came out like shortly after. But the GoBots were just like not cool at all. And Transformers came along and blew them out of the water.
Let's go double nothing on GoBots. What?
So, yeah, I was going to work this into one of the questions somehow, or like the tiebreaker, but that's an actual toy. That's the GoBots. That's Crane Brain. With
Crane
the giant
Brain.
This is how you teach your kid if you don't want to talk about birds and the bees. You
Yeah.
talk about the cars and the
Yep.
erections. I don't know.
Get the cars with erections and Tarzan action figures that masturbate.
There was he didn't make the cut, but Erector was one of the.
Howdy there, folks. Video James here. Now, normally I'm a bit scared of the Gamer Subs merchandise. Those waifu ladies are too intense for me. But something about this new merch just speaks to this old cowboy's heart. It's the reverse cowgirl waifu cups, sweats, hoodies, and more. I don't know what it is. It might have something to do with the cowboy theme, or the girls, maybe, possibly, definitely. Anyway, use the link below and head on over to GamerSubs and be sure to use the promo code Dorkly to get some free samples. Okay, back to the video. I'm gonna ask GamerSubs for all that merch.
All right, so this is Today in Nerd History, and the Fantastic Four teaser came out a couple days ago. The one thing that I don't know if they're holding back on it for some reason, was there was no stretching in it. I was hoping for like a little. Yeah,
I noticed too. I was like, okay, they mentioned that she disappears and he turns into a rock and he goes on fire. They don't mention Mr. Like, is his name Mr. Fantastic?
Yes.
They don't mention
Dr.
his
Stretch.
thing. Dr. Stretch? Are they going to change it? Or are they just like waiting? Because also, like, what's that going to look like? There's kind of a lot that depends on whether or not that looks good.
I feel like I haven't seen a movie version of him stretching that kind of looks cool. Where even it just like, for me anyway, but even like how he looks in Marvel Rivals, that feels, I don't know, just the animation of that feels a lot more dynamic and cool to me. Whereas like in the movies, I just feel like it's like big hand coming towards the camera, like a lot of that kind of stuff. But I'm just curious, like I have plenty of faith that they're going to make it look cool and use it like in creative ways and stuff. But
Yeah.
I'm just curious if there was a specific reason why they didn't show it in there.
Right? I assume it's
Maybe they're like having internal issues and they're like, we need to work on this a little bit.
Do we really want him to stretch?
Yeah, I think that it could be that they're not done. It could be that they were not happy with how it came out, or they wanted to be like refined, or it looks so dope that they want to save it. Like, I mean,
But like, when has anyone ever done that?
They've never done that. Especially
They've
Marvel.
never done that.
No, they showed the Red Hulk like immediately.
Like
for their
every
Captain America
trailer
trailer.
spoils everything.
It is too.
Yeah.
Maybe it is because it was just the teaser, right? So it's not like the full
The teaser
thing.
doesn't tell you anything about the story.
Yeah.
It gives you like a vibe check, and it's like, okay, like
And
I think it did.
It gives you a reason to check out the trailer when that comes out too. So it's like
That's true.
saving a little bit for it.
It could be also that they were like, you see Johnny catch on fire, you see Sue doing her power in a way, but mostly they want people talking about the thing. Like, they clearly were like, there were two shots of the thing in this trailer, the first of which, of course, was him, like, in the shirt, hanging out with Herbie, talking and making a bear reference, because he's, like, cooking and stuff, and I'm like, is this, like, literally what we're doing here? We're just like, remember
This
him
is what
from
we're
the bear?
doing.
It's funny.
Like-
when I referenced the bear 2 seconds ago, but I didn't put that
I didn't
connection
put that
together
together either.
until you said it. I was
Right,
like,
I'm the resident comic book reading guy, and I can tell you, like, while the thing does everything a human does, like cooking and taking a deuce, I don't know him to cook.
To be
Like,
a
he's
cook,
not like
he's not a foodie.
no, like not
I
at
thought
all.
maybe that was a thing.
Yeah, no, and
I thought that was the thing with the thing.
He
Yeah,
did.
and
He
it
did
was
call.
it ain't.
He did call Herbie cousin, so I thought that was a little strange.
Right, that was cute, but he'd never like that. Ben would never do that, and he would never say that he was going to put some garlic in to give it some zip. That's not something that a guy from Yancey Street would say, and but. That's all to say, he looks fantastic. I love the design of him. I like the animation on him. I'm not against the voice. Did I expect him to sound a little gruffer? Yeah. But I've had 3 terrible versions of the thing in live action. So I'll take this one if it just sounds like the actor. Like,
Right.
That's fine with me.
Yep.
Because they're all, when they try it too hard, it sounds really dumb. It's never going to be like the 90s cartoon.
I feel like if they wanted him to sound gruff, they could have just had someone who has a gruff voice. You don't need it to be a thing that changes with his body change.
Yeah.
Although I would think that if I turned into a rock, my voice would be different.
Yeah, it would.
So I'm
curious how his taste buds actually function.
It does feel inaccurate in that way.
He's like all rock.
Yeah, you don't want to pull that thread.
Yeah, no.
It's a whole thing.
What does digesting actually look like and mean? Is it like having a river run through a rock? Does it get bigger over time?
Yeah. Does it erode him?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want you. They don't want you asking those questions.
No,
I do. I'm asking them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying that Feige is going to come to your house.
I like
Stop asking.
Seeing Galactus in there, not like super huge,
cool.
but like just towering over the city and stuff. And I don't know. I'm very curious of just like, I imagine at the end of the movie or whatever, they're going to end up in the like standard MCU universe kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But like, but the first thing I thought was like, Galactus is about to like destroy their planet, and they're like, "See ya, we're out of here. We're gonna go over here."
Yeah, they're like, zoop, just go to the MCU, just leave. Like they're just the biggest cowards. They're just Rick and Morty. They're like, we can only do this like 2 or 3 times at most. The thing that I thought we'd like focus on, because it's like everyone's talked about every aspect of this trailer. They've analyzed it to death. John Malkovich is in this movie.
Yeah, right.
And
wait,
they
what?
just showed him for a half second, and he has crazy hair, and it looks a lot like a character from the Fantastic Four that I would never, if I was given 6 Fantastic Four movies, I would never put this character in them. And they might be doing it. And that's Ivan Kragoff, a.k.a. the Red Ghost. And the Red Ghost is essentially...
Now I want to screen the entire teaser again and say, where is he?
Like, where he's
him?
literally...
I didn't see him.
He might as well
and
not
I
even
love,
move.
Like, I'm obsessed with John Malkovich in a way that, like, I just think about him all the time.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, you're gonna love him. But, yeah, he originally was, like, a concept of the Red Scare from, communist Russia, and... He himself is not terribly powerful, but he does command an army of super apes. And the apes are powerful. Now, what does the Red Ghost have to do with super apes? I couldn't tell you, but he does command them. And the super apes are, like, not just, it's 6 monkeys like it's Planet of the Apes. No, these are 6 very different marsupials. And apes are marsupials? No.
No.
No, marsupials have pouches.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. These are just like 5 or 6 apes of varying orders. It's not just like 3 gorillas. It's like a bunch of different apes, and they all have powers. Like telepathy or shape shifting.
Holy shit!
Yeah, and he like unleashes them on unsuspecting people. That's his thing.
That's I would love it if like the Fantastic Four is like manipulating it so that the apes go to attack Galactus and then they get out of there. So now that their Earth is stuck with the super apes and Galactus as they're like, see ya.
Yeah,
I'm framing this as Fantastic Four is just, and then they get to the MCU, the regular standard one, some sort of threats there, and then they're like, all right, we're out of here. They just go to some other.
Yeah, zoop. They go to the DC universe. They're in it's Superman. They're like, this'll do.
This isn't like the comics at all.
It's almost a shame that like they are going to the MCU because they're going to go from this very specific looking, like really iconic universe with like all these great different like visual styles, and then he's going to go to Peyton Reed's Ant-Man world, and it's going to be like, oh, everything's kind of just homogenized, isn't it? No lighting, huh?
Yeah.
It's just kind of lame. Okay. I do like Marvel, folks. Don't come at me. I like those movies.
So I'll look forward to the actual trailer instead of the teaser trailer when they talk about and tell us what the fuck is Pedro Pascal going to be doing in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, presumably stretched, but we don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they change it. What?
Right.
I mean, what kind of an uprising would it be if they just decide, they're like, what if we just change it? Just for fun.
I would be upset.
They would just completely change his
what
powers.
What if they did so many tests and they were like, we can't make it happen. It's not going to look good. So they just change it completely.
He just like breathes ice.
What would they do?
Oh,
What
that
kind
would be
of mutiny
disappointing.
would happen? I would love for that to happen.
I
Just
mean, like,
because of
if they did something like
the
that,
number of people that would lose their minds
Yeah.
over it.
like it would be the end of the MCU. Probably just the backlash on something so stupid like that would be
Yeah,
hilarious.
so avoidable.
You're right.
And they were like, "No, we're creative too." I'm so sick of that mentality in like everything that is being made pop culture wise, where like they're like, "Hey, we got this property that you love, but don't forget we're creative too." And I'm like, "If you were, you wouldn't need it."
Yeah.
And so just make the thing I want. And they're like,
Exactly.
"No,
Here's my thumbprint all over it. Here you go.
here's
I
a
made
cupcake."
this now.
Oh, your thumbprints, you got really deep in there.
Ew.
Eat it.
Yeah, that way you know I made it. Cool.
So, in a bit of surprising news, RoosterTeeth, which closed its doors about 8 months ago, Bernie Burns, the original founder of RoosterTeeth, has acquired, him and his wife Ashley have acquired RoosterTeeth, the brand, back. So, for just a quick history lesson on like what happened with all that shit, like RoosterTeeth, there's a trend of like bigger companies buying places like RoosterTeeth or like other popular, internet fandom type of content creator places. It got bought by like Otter Media, and then Otter Media got bought by like Warner, and then something else. So like 1,000 different things like that happened. And eventually, when that kind of shit happens, there's just mandates from the higher ups of like, you need to hit these numbers and you need to make these kind of shows and blah, 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 blah. And like, it kind of strips all the heart and soul out of a company. So at a certain point, they become numbers on a sheet. They started to close down RoosterTeeth. That was 8 months ago. So Bernie Burns and his wife, Ashley, acquired the brand from Warner. And that means like, it's different than like acquiring the company. So the brand RoosterTeeth, the company is like the warehouse that the studio that they had in Austin. I don't think it's theirs anymore, or like certain equipment and things like that. So like a lot of kind of the physical assets and things. It's not that, but it's the brand and some of the shows that they still have like under that RoosterTeeth umbrella. Some of the other bigger shows were kind of sold off at certain points. So like other companies own them. And then there's other shows where like when they were closing, RoosterTeeth gave them to the people who created them so that they could have that show as well. So then, but now it's like going to be, I think he's in the process of going through decades of archives of like hard drives to like kind of start from scratch and like go through all the shit that they actually have and put that all together as like an archive and figure out where that all goes. But they're hoping to do like a new slate of shows, some like new originals, some like reviving or revamping some series that they still own. And I was listening to like the podcast that he has, I forget, it's Morning Somewhere, I think it's called. And they're hoping to do that in like May or something like that to start kicking stuff off for this summer. So it's pretty cool. Like I don't know if I was necessarily like a huge fan of all the things that RoosterTeeth did. But they were like somebody that definitely blew up first from like all the internet creators and stuff. And there was like, holy shit, they're like way up there with Red versus Blue, that sort of machinima style stuff that they would do. And they're like directing commercials using video game engines and things like that. It was really cool. Just that sort of that community that they built was really great. And I think that was like really the heart and soul of RoosterTeeth for a long time. And then they had RTX, which we got to go to like the last one basically right before COVID. And then they stopped doing it right after. So it's great to see like that, a company like that is getting out from under just like the giant corporation who could give a shit about the actual stuff that they're doing as long as they're hitting the numbers. So it's like great for what can be considered now like an independent studio creator. They're huge, and his, I forget the name of his, it's like Canyon Box, I think is his production company. So it's him. He's getting back to like his roots of all that kind of stuff. And they're going to be making some new shows. I think Camp, one of the animated shows that they're going to be doing. Ruby, I can't remember.
Oh, I remember reading something like they didn't get Ruby.
Oh, they didn't. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't quite remember. And then I don't know if there's still even.
It seems kind of vague. Like there's not like an official thing about like what they've got yet. They're still working it out. And they were also like, please don't bother other founders because we're still working that out too.
Yeah, exactly. But like I was saying, it's still cool. glad that that's happening, and I'm excited to see what kind of stuff they do.
This week we're talking about Groundhog Day, even though Groundhog Day, as we're recording, was 4 days ago. I actually didn't pay attention. Do you guys know if the groundhog saw
He did see a shadow.
Okay. Number one, I have something that I need to say. I have a bone to pick with Groundhog Day itself. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. When he sees his shadow, it means the sun is out. So shouldn't that mean that there's going to be an early spring? Instead, it's the opposite. When he sees his shadow, there's more winter. When he doesn't see a shadow, that means that it's cloudy and it's gloomy and it's supposedly going to be an early spring. That doesn't make any sense to me. I hate it.
It's weird that there's no consistency in how a large squirrel predicts the weather.
A fucking fraud rodent.
Yes.
They are so cute, though.
Right? A chonk rat. Able to predict meteorological
You know what?
events.
The thing I never
rat.
do is I never see whatever he predicts, and then I never follow up. Is he ever correct?
Was he right?
Is he ever right? Doesn't matter.
People
No,
just
it doesn't
instantly
fucking
forget.
matter.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing.
Yeah.
Because
it is. Yeah, I defend it because it's so distinctly American.
Yeah.
Like, only the Americans are like, well, get that big fat rat out of the hole.
Well,
What did he say? What did he say? What did he say?
one of
Did
the
he see
first
anything?
snarky things that Phil Connors says in Groundhog Day, like one of the first snarky things that he says in Punxsutawney when he wakes up that morning is the first person he talks to is in the hallway. And the guy says, do you think it'll be an early spring? And he goes, I'm predicting March 21st. And he goes, oh, I think that is actually and he's like getting the joke as Phil's walking away.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
But everybody's so hyped for it.
One of the original endings, I think, just in script form, like the twist that was there, like at the end when Bill Murray breaks the curse and professes his love to Rita, Rita turns him down like she's not ready for it yet, and that sends her into her Groundhog's Day.
What?
Oh, snap.
Yeah,
That would have been so shitty, though.
I know.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Because she's the whole thing is that Rita is such a good, sweet person, and she is like the ideal that he is aspiring to the whole time. And he starts off as this very angry, selfish person, and then he becomes this very good person. One of the things that I really liked watching the commentary was that when he gets to like day 3, when he's like really angry, it's the night that he goes bowling and then he gets drunk and he's like driving around and he's like talking about like, you know, you got to stay in line, be nice to your sister and this and that. Harold Ramis talks about how like this is like the adolescent years of Phil's character, because he's very angry, and then he starts to realize in that car ride that nothing matters, that like these guys have given him the idea like, I have no consequences, I can just go do whatever I want. And that's very much how teenagers feel, like nothing matters, I'm gonna live my life, I'm gonna do what I want, kind of thing. And then it's not until he goes through all of the bad things that he realizes like this is empty and useless. And like the lowest of the low is of course when he finds the homeless man and realizes that he can't save him no matter what he does. And I like, no matter how hard I try, every time I watch the movie I cry at that part. It's so sad, it's so heartbreaking.
Yep.
It just breaks my little heart.
What I'm really thankful for with this movie is that there isn't a moment where like Christopher Walken is the homeless guy and like looks at the camera after Phil like learns a lesson and like winks at you,
Yeah.
like it would happen if it was made today.
oh my god.
Like, there isn't like you don't see the clockmaker, like you
Yeah.
don't see God,
Yeah.
like or whoever's doing this to him. Like
Yeah.
it's just
also
it
there's
just
no
happens to
there's
him.
no explanation as to why it happens.
Great.
Which is
Great.
something they talked about a lot. Like
Yep.
they had a couple of ideas about like showing like in the beginning of the movie showing a couple things, and like maybe there was a love interest in the office and he was like kind of like a spurned lover, and that like created a curse because she cursed him or whatever, but like it just didn't make any sense and they just left it out. And it's better for that, I think.
It's a billion times better because it's like people still just talk about it just like we are. Like you don't really know the explanation or how long he was there, stuck in it, like all that stuff. Like you could definitely, like you guys are saying, it'd be so easy to, if this movie was made now, like, well, let's explain how the curse happened. Let's get specific about how long he's been in there. Like all that shit that just like over ruins it, or just like, that's like usually just a lack of respect for the audience. You're just over explaining shit, or just a lack of self-confidence in your storytelling ability. But yeah, like I think that's why this movie, like this is one of my favorite movies. Whenever I rewatch it, it's one of those things where I'm like, I remember way too many like subtle, weird things about it, like that are just one of them that is when at the end when he's playing piano, and just his piano teacher, she does like the weirdest little, she just dances like this.
She does a weird little dance.
It's just this with her hands, and like little shit like that in the movie. It's just all over the place, but it just makes it like a classic. One of the things I always like seeing whenever just looking into movies and stuff is like who was like potential casting before Bill Murray. Like Bill Murray wasn't their first choice, or it wasn't Harold Ramis's first choice, and it wasn't Ruben, the screenwriter's choice. The screenwriter doesn't have a say in it, but like the screenwriter wanted Kevin Kline, and Ramis wanted Tom Hanks. And
interesting. After
Tom Hanks passed, they offered it to Michael Keaton, and he passed. And then they went to Bill. But like any of the, like Kevin Kline, Tom Hanks, Michael Keaton, those all would have been fucking great. Like they're all really funny.
I don't know. I feel like there's a certain thing about Bill Murray that like he is so believably a shitty guy. That like I wouldn't believe Keaton or Tom Hanks as a shitty, like I would, because I think they're great actors. I think they could do it, but there's something about like the way Bill Murray is like such a shitty guy in this. It almost makes you believe that's who he is in real life.
Well,
like you could almost kind of feel that.
It's kind of true.
So the guy who plays Ned Ryerson in one of the like behind the scenes like featurettes that I saw, he said they were doing his scenes, like they do them all of the scenes like on the street. They did those all in the row at the same time because they were shooting from like January until like early spring. So all the outdoor shots had to be done early before the season changed. So they did like all of those shots on the same day. So they did day 1 with him and then day 2 with him, and like all the PAs on the set were like really super specific about making sure like the background actors were the same ones crossing, and like the cars passing were like, they were really good about timing all that shit out and making sure everything was good. But the guy playing Ned Ryerson said at one point in between takes, he said, you know what we need? Bill Murray says this. Bill Murray says, you know what we need? We need Danishes. And he like goes over to a bakery in town, and he ordered like over 100 Danishes because there was like a bunch of people just watching them shoot. And he just they just started bringing out he paid for them all, and they started bringing out boxes of Danishes, and he handed it out to the people watching because he wanted to be nice to them, which I think is so nice.
Yeah.
Like that's really kind.
Yeah.
That's fun. He's not all bad.
Yeah. No, he's not a monster.
No, he's not a monster.
Like watching him.
Yeah. I do like hearing stuff like that, but there are a lot of bad stories about Bill Murray. Yeah.
He is,
On this set too. Like I like hearing
just
that.
to Harold Ramis in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Harold said that like they would do a lot of not yelling at each other, but like quibbling kind of stuff about stuff.
Andie MacDowell's great, perfect choice for Rita. They were considering Tori Amos for Rita. I was like,
what?
All right. Like,
has she been in
anything? I don't think so. I don't think. I clearly like Harold Ramis or somebody's like friends with her, or that had to be part of it. Like,
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that'd have been so strange.
Yeah, like, and in her film debut, singer-songwriter Tori Amos. Like, what?
Maybe she's really trying to break in. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it didn't work out for her.
So AJ, you said you have.
I have a couple of favorite lines. I was going
to put you on the spot and say you have on the ready. You have a bunch of deep research about the musical coming up.
Oh no, I don't. I said I was going to do a bunch of deep research, but I didn't. No, it's actually the musical has come out. It's like it exists. It's out there.
Oh, it's out. Okay.
It actually, it premiered in August 2016, and I actually saw it in August. of 2016. It premiered in London. I happened to be in London. I think I saw it in July. I think I saw it in like pre-production. I was on my baby moon before my first kid was born, and just happened to see like, this is Groundhog Day, the musical, and Dan and I both love Groundhog Day, so we're like, let's go see it. And we happened to be sitting next to, I think it was one of the writers, but Dan said it was one of the producers or something, because during the intermission, he was like, what do you guys think? Because like, I wanted, like, it was very much still like up in the air about certain things being nailed down. But it was at the Old Vic Theatre in London, and it was so fucking fun.
I know nothing about musicals, but like, premiering in London for a movie about an obscure American holiday is like a strange choice.
It's a weird thing. It's a weird choice. Yeah. I don't know why they did that.
We're trying to get fired. It's the producers.
The one thing that sticks in my head about it, and what's funny is because like my husband started listening to the music again recently, and he really likes certain songs, and he said he didn't remember much about the actual production, and I was like, oh, there was this one really big moment that I remember, and it's the montage of deaths, because they have a bunch of the cast dressed as Phil, and he goes through, they have this like revolving kind of, I don't even know how to explain it. There's like a revolving part of the stage, and he like walks into one room, and then he dies, and then he shows up in the next room, and it's just like, they did this really great effect with people showing up in places that you don't expect in order to seem like a montage to have it on stage. And it was just really,
cool.
It's really well done. It's super fun. The songs are catchy and fun to listen to. There was just a run in Japan between November and December of last year.
It's never actually been in America.
Yeah, like what the hell?
No, it was.
You know, it'd be a really great place for them to shoot to do that is Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Right? They should be doing it like every year. No, the musical is scheduled to be produced by the Annapolis Summer Garden Theater in Annapolis, Maryland. So if you happen to be in Maryland from the 31st of July to the 31st of August this year, you can go catch that in Annapolis, Maryland.
Every day.
I might actually have to plan a trip just to see it again, because it was so much fun. And especially because Dan really does love the music. It's weird how many things have become musicals. Did you guys know that there's an American Psycho, the musical? Almost anything can be, like, there's music and there's productions that have happened. It is crazy how many theaters there are that need musicals, so they just happen all the time. But I think this one is good. But I wanted to share before we end a couple of my favorite things that I learned. Harold Ramis said that like when this movie was out in theaters, there were people that would stand outside with signs, almost like a picket line, but they weren't picketing against the movie. They were saying like, are you living the same day over and over again? They were like encouraging people to see the movie, because when it came out, he got like calls from like Buddhists, and he would get like letters from people. He like met a yogi, and the yogi was like, this is a yogi movie. And then he started getting letters from like Jesuits and fundamentalist Christians being like, this movie is like, this is about us. Like, this is what we like do. And he's like, nah, it's just kind of, I don't know. But I guess the guy who originally wrote it, it was kind of, he was a little bit of a Buddhist. So that was part of the intention. But they said that, you know, people who aren't super religious in and of themselves usually consider this a very spiritual movie, because it has like that ring of what do you do? And you know, when he gets to the point where he's realizing nothing matters, then what do you do with your life? Do you do the things that are shitty, or do you do the things that are nice? And he chooses to do, you know, the nice things. He chooses to make himself better. He's reading, he's learning, he's helping people. Which is like, you know, what we really all should be trying to do. Maybe. One last thing that I thought was really interesting is that the original script, the very first script, started in the middle and like had him just living every day already with no like really explanation, and almost had him like talking to camera to tell people what was happening. And the people who read it, and even Harold Ramis said, like, I really love this about the script. And he said, I promise I will never change this about the script. And it's, of course, the first thing that he changed when he did a rewrite.
Yeah. I think
Because it just like...
I'm glad they did.
Yeah. You need to see...
He was like a narrator.
The realization of... Yeah, having him be a narrator would not be as interesting. You really need to see him like falling through and realizing all the things as they're happening. And it's much more fun that way. But it was interesting. They called it. They said because it started in the middle, they thought it was very European, and and they liked that part of the script. It was their favorite part, and then they changed it immediately.
That's it for this week. Thanks again for joining us as always. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, leave a comment. Did you watch Groundhog's Day? What was your favorite death in Groundhog's Day? Let's go with that. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, give us a like, leave us a comment. It really does help us out. Always appreciate it. You guys got anything you want to plug?
No, this is a great show. People subscribe to the channel and listen to it. There's plenty of episodes now.
We're plugging us.
Yes, exactly.
We like you, and we hope you like us. This was the 6th movie that Bill and Harold worked on together.
I don't know if it was on purpose, and I have not heard the audio commentary. All the ways that he says he's ended his own life are the same methods by which they kill Vigo the Carpathian.
Holy
2.
shit. Yeah, wow.